Hello and welcome to another episode of Community Update. My name is Idara Osanga. I will be your host. In 1792, more than 1,000 African Americans who had settled in Nova Scotia after the American Revolutionary War left Halifax, Nova Scotia for Africa, where they founded the settlement of Freetown and the colony of Sierra Leone. Today, Canada and Sierra Leone are connected by this unique history. In Sierra Leone, one can see the influence of the Canadian maritime provinces in the capital city of Freetown, in the style of construction and the names of streets and businesses. McCollins Jones is originally from Sierra Leone, and he joins me now from Halifax. Hello, McCollins. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Hi, Dara. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to Nova Scotia?
So, as you rightly said, my name is McCollins Jones, and I am originally from the city of Freetown, Sierra Leone, and I moved here to Nova Scotia in February of 2005 as a result of the civil war in Sierra Leone. So that's how my journey brought me back to Nova Scotia.
All right. So when you arrived in Halifax, did it feel like home away from home, just because of the similarities?
Well, with one difference, the winter.
Of course,
It was very
course.
cold. In February was like the coldest time. But apart from that, it felt like home because you can sense the similarities of the construction and all that, so I have that sense of feeling. And also the culture, the friendly, how you can meet friendly people here. It's the same with Freetown,
So how have you participated in the community activities here in Halifax since you arrived?
Well, I was very busy. I first started when I first came. I was enrolled into the transition year program at Dalhousie, and during my time there, I worked with the transition year program, and I also worked with the Black Student Advising Center, where I served as a mentor for young Black students who are looking at getting into university. I was also a founding member of the African Diaspora Association of the Maritimes, short name for ADAM.
My name is McCollins Jones, and I'm a student at Dalhousie. I'm doing a Bachelor of Science for Recreation and Bachelor of Management.
And I've also been involved with the community barbecue for newcomers here in Halifax. I've been hosting for a few years now and helping with organization. And also, I am the president for the Creole Association here, because the Creoles it's the name of the tribe that was given to these African Nova Scotians, right? So here in Canada, they are known as African Nova Scotians, but back in Sierra Leone, they are known as Creoles. It's the same. We speak Pidgin English, as in Niger.
Hey, thank you for that. That seems like a lot of interesting things you've been a part of, like the front line, basically. So that seems very interesting. So having lived in Nova Scotia for this long, would you say a lot of people are aware of this historical relationship between Halifax and Freetown?
Not quite. Actually, presently, I work with Service Canada over in Dartmouth. And I think it was 2 years ago, I had to do a presentation about the connection during Black History Month. I did a presentation, and I also did like a potluck wherein I provided some of our Sierra Leonean dishes, like, mostly West African dishes, because when you're talking of jollof rice, it's not just a Sierra Leone thing. And and I explained to my colleagues that that particular dish is one dish that all over West Africa, we are competing against each other again for that particular dish, jollof rice. And I made a Senegalese dish called acheke. And I also did a presentation with regards to the connection between Nova Scotia and Sierra Leone. And for a lot of people, it was an eye-opener for them, because this is something that is not being taught in the curriculum here in Nova Scotia or Canada.
That's quite interesting, having that opportunity to, to inform everyone and just to bring that knowledge to other people. That's quite interesting. And of course, the jollof rice debate, it never ends. It's a big one.
Never ends.
It never ends. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So I know. So describe the Sierra Leonean community in Halifax today.
Actually, Sierra Leonean community is pretty small. You know, my family is one of the largest Sierra Leonean families here, the Joneses. And you have the Durins, the Gilpins, the Sankors, and few others. It's quite small, to say the least. And there's like the patriarch by the name of Novizizwe, who has been here for a very long time. He's a senior citizen living here and has lived here a long time. So he's part of the Sierra Leonean community as well. But compared to the Nigerian community, it's it's not comparable. But I remember back in 2005 when I was here, like I think I knew pretty much almost all the Nigerians living in Halifax and Dartmouth. But right now I cannot put a number. Sometimes I meet people, I'll be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Just by that first hello, I could tell from the accents, right? And it's good. It's good that the African community is growing, and not only growing, at least we are making significant progress here in Nova Scotia. We are leaving an impact here, which is very good. And it's not a negative impact, it's the positive impact. So I'm happy for that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. The African community is really growing and thriving, and it's really important to have platforms like this to share our stories and, to connect to one another. So I agree with you, definitely. So how would you describe the relationship between the present day Nova Scotia and Sierra Leone? Is there like a strong, prominent relationship, would you say?
It's not. Actually, when I first came in 2005, the only connection I could hear about was there was an organization called Gambia Nova Scotia Association, something like that. I forgot the actual name. I don't know if it's still existing, but that was the only organization I knew about. There's no organization that links Sierra Leone and Nova Scotia. I feel it's a big gap right there because, the history that Sierra Leone, more especially Freetown, shares with Nova Scotia is immense. There was one politician who retired now. I think his name is Bill Casey. He resides in Truro, and he mentioned some of the piece that you just read about how you could tell the significance with regards to the buildings and stuff. This gentleman went to Freetown, and this was one of the things he reported. I read it way back in 2006, I think. But as at now, there is not much when you're talking of that historical ties or connection. I know that the mayor here and the mayor in Freetown, they are in communication because I understood that there was a letter that was sent from the mayor of Halifax to the mayor of Freetown with regards to the 230 years celebration of freedom.
Oh, thank you for that. It's interesting to hear that the relationship is not as prominent as you would think, but I'm hoping that with people like you in the community, that is something that would change. So how about other? Yeah, thank you. So how about other African communities here? What kind of relationship have you maintained with them? I know you've mentioned being connected to the Nigerian community. But what kind of relationship would you say you've maintained with other African communities here in Nova Scotia?
Back in my days at Dalhousie, I was very involved with the Wana Kenya Association, which was an organization formed by Kenyans here. One of my classmates is from Kenya. So she invited me to their meetings, and way back then I used to do a radio show at Dalhousie Radio, CKDU. I worked with this gentleman from Eritrea by the name of Naz.
However, I was doing a radio show, and I do it once in a while. Actually, tomorrow you guys can listen 7:30 to FM 88.1, and I will send a shout out for you guys. It's all in African music and stuff. So I was
And so Nas would alternate. I'll do this week, I'll do the show, and the following week he will do the show. And during the weeks that I do the show, I play more of other African, like Nigerian songs, Sierra Leonean songs, Ghanaian, I play different range of music. It was more of a music show. But over the years, it has evolved now. I have not been involved with that show for a very long time. But yeah, I was involved with the Kenyans and a little bit with the Ghanaians society. And, I get in touch with last year, I was down at the Point Pleasant Park and I joined the Liberians there. I was passing by and they saw me and they called me over. They were celebrating their country's anniversary. It was last summer. So, I normally, for me personally, whenever I see anyone, as long as you have my skin color, I try to have that quick chat with you. And based from your accent, I'll just ask, hey, are you from West Africa, East Africa? And, try to get that connection. But as years passed by, I haven't been much so involved because work has been extremely demanding. But I'm, trying to get back into it because I missed it so much. I was the president of the Dalhousie African Students Association for 2 consecutive terms, and I know how much money I put into that organization prior to me leaving. And we used to organize African nights. Back then it was authentic. I use the word authentic because we cook the food ourselves. Now, when you have African nights, you have to, they don't allow all these halls don't allow you to bring in your own food. You have to go through the catering company that is assigned to that place. So way back then, when you're eating egusi soup, you eat authentic egusi soup and pounded yam. And when you're eating that okuroko, you're eating, and when you're eating the Ethiopian food, you eat authentic food, So I did that for 2 consecutive terms, and I continue to work with them even after I graduated. I was MC for one African night about, I think, 5 years ago. I did MC for them, and it was very interesting. So, yeah, it's always nice to get that connection with people from the continent.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for that. I agree. It's always a great experience, to come together and have that community bond. I have been part of a couple of African night events, and I know how beautiful it's been, beautiful and amazing to be a part of that. And I know COVID has happened and so many things have been put at the back burner, but I'm looking forward to, having that community engagement again. And it's always wonderful, experiencing the rich display of cultures. So that's interesting to hear that you've been at the forefront of so many important, things in our community. So just before we head out, any final words before I let you go? Do you have anything to say to us, to our viewers tonight?
Well, actually, as I mentioned earlier, Freetown, the city of Sierra Leone, is celebrating the 230th anniversary, when the city was founded. And there was a very big celebration in Freetown. And I just want to touch on a little bit of history with Freetown. Personally, if you read the in-depth history of Freetown, Freetown is like a melting pot. It's one of the few melting pots you will have in all over Africa. The reason why I say that is Sierra Leone existed prior to the Nova Scotians going to Freetown. There was slavery going on from Sierra Leone. There was a slave fort in Sierra Leone, but not in Freetown. So when these loyalists went back, they kind of brushed that land. It was all, woods and all that. They cleared the land. They built a church there. Some of the first few churches are there that have been standing to this day. There's a huge cotton tree in the center of Freetown. This was the tree where these blacks used to go have their meetings. But then the locals that were living in those surrounding areas at some point started killing these Nova Scotians. So the British had to intervene, and that's why that area, Freetown, was called the Protectorate back then. So as you know, after the abolition of slavery, it did still continue. People were smuggling people because this was a lucrative business. It wouldn't just go like in a day or a year. So what they were doing was there was a British naval ship stationed in that West African coast. And every ship that was intercepted, be it coming from Nigeria, Ghana, the Gambia, all those ships of slaves that were intercepted were sent to Freetown. So that's why I say Freetown is a melting pot. There's a huge Nigerian community in Freetown, huge Ghanaian community, huge Gambian community. And also Freetown was like the city for all English speaking, well, I should say all British affiliated West African countries, right? Because there was a thing called British West Africa. Because I use the word British because Liberia is also English speaking, but not a British. It was never a British colony. It was an American colony. You know, my grandfather went straight from Nigeria after the Biafra War, and he stayed there all his life. So I have families right now in Nigeria as I speak, you know, from my mom's side and my dad's side, you know. So, and when you go to Freetown, you have among the Creoles, we do speak Pidgin English, and you hear a lot of names that has Nigerian connection, like Babatunde, Oladuni, you know, Talabi, Ibijoke. My mom's name is Talabi, by the way. So that would be my, you know, something I want to share out there. And most people, when I am around the Nigerian community, they always think I'm from Niger, which is good, you know. Yeah, when I tell them that my grandfather is from there, they'll be like, you're not Sierra Leonean now, you be Niger.
Thank you so much, McCollins. It's really interesting to know how intertwined and how interconnected we are. Thank you for sharing that information with us tonight. Thank you for the history lesson. I can speak for myself and our viewers. I know that we have learned something. I have learned a lot. Like, you know, that's really, I think I would go back and explore more, you know, and actually read more about Sierra Leone. Like, that's very interesting to see how multicultural you are. Like, thank you so much for sharing that with us tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So that was McCollins Jones, a member of the Sierra Leonean community here in Halifax. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this channel and get notified when we post the next update. I am Idaro Sanga, and I will see you next time. Thank you.